Happy June! June is a big deal for two reasons. One, of course, it's Pride Month, but two, it's also World Oceans Month. We all know Pride Month is when we celebrate those in the LGBTQIA+ community, but few know about World Ocean Month. World Ocean Month was created by the NOAA with the purpose of acknowledging and appreciating everything the ocean has to offer. So I thought this month I would combine the LGBTQIA+ community and the ocean and make a video that explains some of the correct concepts and thoughts behind the show Spongebob Squarepants.
Spongebob Squarepants! Spongebob Squarepants! Spongebob Squarepants! Spongebob Squarepants!
The original idea behind SpongeBob was to create a show that was a cartoon that provided children with educational entertainment about marine biology. And this was because the original creator, Steven Hillenburg, was a marine scientist, and he even started creating concepts and characters for the show all the way back in 1986. So today, I'm going to share the scientific reasoning and background behind 5 of the most iconic parts of the show.
It was big! It was all wiggly! And it ate everything!
That's horrible!
It was an Alaskan Bull Worm!
So it turns out the Alaskan Bull Worm is kind of real. There are these animals called pyrosomes, and they're also known as sea worms. They are bioluminescent and grow up to be 60 feet long. To me, this already seems creepy, but there's actually one last thing that makes it creepier. Pyrosomes aren't actually one organisms. They're made of thousands of colonies of individuals called zooids. Even though they seem creepy and intimidating, they actually aren't. They're harmless, they're filter feeders, and research has been done on their bioluminescence because scientists think there are properties that can help us cure diseases.
I'll admit, you got some pretty good moves for a squirrel. But you're still just a land creature.
Squirrels can do anything they want to.
I bet you can't eat a Krabby Double Deluxe in one bite. Oh.
Can you reproduce by budding? Can ya?
So this is one of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob, and it has been for a long time. First, I liked it for its jokes and its high production value. But after taking invertebrate zoology in college, I was able to pick out all the things that the writers got right about these animals. Sea stars can eat an incredible amount of food. They have 2 stomachs and eat in a pretty interesting way. Basically, their stomach comes out of their mouth and gets the food directly. Then the food is liquefied by 10 to 11 enzymes and the stomach goes back inside its body. And the things about budding were pretty accurate. Budding is a type of asexual reproduction that sponges are capable of, and they can do it in one of 2 ways. There's either internal budding or external budding. Internal budding occurs when a small collection of diverse cell types grow in an enclosed and protective covering, while external budding is when part of the sponge breaks off and creates an entirely new organism. This is why I said this one was kind of true, kind of false, because it does show a type of budding, but it's not necessarily internal or external. There are separate sponges that are forming, but they're not breaking off the original host, and we don't see a collection of different types of cells. It's not completely accurate, but they tried. Now let's talk about SpongeBob's parents.
What are you gonna do now?
I guess I'll have to move back with my mom and dad.
No. Wait a minute. No, you don't.
I was never one of the apparently millions of people that thought his parents were cookies. I always believed that they were sponges. I was just confused that they didn't look like him. At first I figured he was adopted until I saw this horrifying clip. And after that, I figured it's just a cartoon with no justification and I should just let it go. But knowing what I know now, there's an actual answer behind it, and it's called genetics. And now I'm going to explain it to you so I can convince myself that a biology degree wasn't a complete waste of time and money.
One pathetic sob story later.
Genetics is the study of heredity and gene variation. To figure out which genes are more likely to be passed down or what the genetic variation for an offspring is going to look like, we use something called a Punnett square. And a Punnett square is made up of 2 different types of alleles. There's a dominant allele and there's also a recessive allele. If an allele is dominant, it will definitely be expressed. But if an allele is recessive, it's less likely to be expressed. The only way a recessive trait will be expressed is if both alleles are recessive. The way a Punnett square works is that you put the traits of one parent on the top and the traits of the other parent on the left side. Dominant traits are represented with a capital letter, and recessive traits are represented with that same letter but the lowercase version. Now let's look at SpongeBob's parents. Both of his parents have a dominant allele and a recessive allele, so I'd put a capital and a lowercase on both sides. The next part is super easy, but for some reason, a lot of people mess up, but you won't if you remember 3 things. Number 1, the letters in each column will always go all the way down. Number 2, the letters in each row will always go all the way across. And number 3, the dominant allele always goes first. So now back to the Punnett square. Rule 1, the column goes all the way down, so we can go ahead and fill those in. Rule 2, the rows go all the way across, and then rule 3 to make sure the dominant alleles are first. That is literally it. Going back to our key where capital S equals dominant and lowercase s equals recessive, I know SpongeBob's genetic makeup is this one. It couldn't be any of the other choices because the dominant allele would have been expressed over all of the rest. Was that explanation worth all the debt I'm in?
Thousands of tears later.
SpongeBob! Oh no! Oh, I'll never forgive myself! No! I'll never forgive you!
What did I miss?
SpongeBob, you're okay!
Patrick, your arm!
Don't worry, SpongeBob. I'm a sea star. My limbs grow back. See?
Hooray for regeneration!
Unfortunately, we sea stars have limbs that grow new bodies.
So this is another thing that the writers got right. Man, they are on it with their starfish trivia. Some starfish, among other deep sea creatures, can regenerate parts of their body. And the even crazier part is they can lose the limb on purpose, especially if they're trying to escape a predator. Now, it can take months to years to grow back a single limb or to regenerate an entire body just from one limb, but I think that's pretty good, all things considered.
5.
I know of a place where you never get harmed. A magical place with magical charms. Indoors, indoors, indoors.
Now, when this episode came out, I had never related to anything more because I hate going outside. There are insects, you get all sweaty, fresh air smells weird. The outdoors was literally my least favorite thing until 2016.
Zika virus is a flavivirus. It's an infection that's carried by mosquitoes.
Electorate has taken the historic decision to withdraw from the European Union.
Hillary Clinton has called Donald Trump to concede the race.
Prince has died at the age of 57.
2016 was a year. The only thing worse than 2016 is 2020. Anyway, SpongeBob does not want to go outside, and when asked about what he's going to do for food, he just says he's going to filter feed.
What about eating?
I'm a sponge. I'll just filter feed.
And this is 100% correct. In the ocean, sea sponges can't actually move and they stay in place, and they filter feed to get all their food and nutrition. They bring in water to obtain food, separate the organisms and the nutrients that they want, and let the rest go. It's actually pretty simple and pretty smart. You don't have to move to get food. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can check out some of my other videos right here and right here, and I will see you again next week.